I'm Councilor Dino Acuña. Please come and join me as we go back in time and remember with gratitude the effort, sacrifices, hard works, and wisdom of our past mayors. In this episode called the Legacy Series, we will visit the graves and relearn the significant contributions of our past leaders.
Dino sa puso nyo.
We are here at the Cementerio de Saravia, built by the Augustinian Recollect priests in the 1800s. It houses a century-old chapel, an entrance arch, and an iron grill fence, all adorned with bricks, which are typical of the old Spanish Camposanto. Possibly, this Camposanto holds the remains of the victims of the 1882 cholera pandemic, which claimed the lives of 1,592. At the entrance of this cemetery is the family mausoleo of the Grand Montinola family of Victorias and Saravia, which houses the remains of the family's patriarch, Don Felix Lozada Montinola. Don Felix Montinola, at the age of 70, became the first chief executive of Victorias to be called a municipal mayor. His administration played an important role in Victorias, not only in the transition of the government from insular government under military governor-general appointed by the President of the United States, but the Commonwealth government, which for the first time after that short-lived First Philippine Republic established during the Philippine Revolution of 1898, the Philippines rose again to vote for a Philippine president under the Commonwealth government with Manuel L. Quezon as president. In Victorias, the visionary Don Felix Montinola's lasting and unforgettable legacy are embedded in the development projects that he initiated, which changed forever the face and landscape of the town of Victorias. Don Felix Montinola was so loved by the people of Victorias that his good name became the resonating sound that built an iconic trademark of public service and left a permanent mark for the people of Victorias. His name, which eventually echoed to his descendants, who continued the Montinola brand of selfless and dedicated public service, was eventually extended to 5 other Montinola blood mayors, 2 vice mayors, and 6 municipal councilors, altogether serving and ruling Victorias for a long span of 50 years. His 5 descendants who became mayors after him were his sons Hector and Benito, and grandsons Jesus and Renato Fermin, and another grandson Benito Montinola Jr. Born in Jaro, Iloilo on February 16, 1864, died a Victoriahanon on September 25, 1949, Don Felix Montinola is buried here in Saravia, now known as E.B. Magalona. His father was Don Benito Vasquez Montinola, born in 1827, and his mother was Doña Quentina Villa Lozada, born also in 1827. Both came from a well-established families in Iloilo. Their remains are buried at the Church of the Jaro Cathedral in Iloilo, where Señora Luz Montinola, daughter of Don Felix, used to visit every after fiesta minatay. She would place an alfombra mat and 2 candelabras before her grandparents' grave marker inside the Jaro Cathedral. During the exodus of Negros at the onset of the sugar industry in Negros, spanning from 1863 up to the 1890s, Don Felix Montinola was one of those rich Ilonggos who moved to Negros, where in Saravia, he found the love of his life, a Spanish descent from the landed political family, Doña Dorotea Gofulco Magalona, daughter of Doña Agapita Gofulco Magalona, and cousin to one day would become a Philippine senator, Don Enrique B. Magalona. In 1967, the town of Saravia was renamed Ibi Magalona in honor of a son and pride of the Saraviahanos, Senator Enrique B. Magalona. Don Felix and Doña Dorotea had 7 children, namely number 1, Quintina, a namesake of his mother. Quintina married Victorino Fermin and became the mother of Mayors Jesus and Renato Fermin. Salud, Luz or Maria Luz Esperanza. Hector married Anita Gomez and then Amparo Ledesma. Hector became mayor and vice mayor of Victorias. Felix Jr. married Presentacion Torre and served as a municipal councilor. Benito, born in 1910, Don Felix named him after his father Benito, who had died in 1907. Benito was married to Luisa Campos and also served as mayor and vice mayor of Victorias. And later, and to this day, the only Victoriahanon who had served the national government as an undersecretary for natural resources of the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources under the Diosdado Macapagal administration. And finally, Dr. Guillermo M. Montinola, who perished in a maritime accident in Corregidor at the onset of World War II, together with his sister Quintina's children, Stella, Esther, and Hernan, with the young Rolando Fermin surviving. Rolando Fermin later became vice mayor of Ibi Magalona. Later in life, another of Quintina's sons, Jesus Fermin, named 2 of his daughters after his sisters, Stella and Esther, and another son, Willie, after his uncle Guillermo, who all perished in that fateful day. While Rolando Fermin named one of his sons Hernan to honor the memory of his brother Hernan, who also perished in that maritime accident. That tragedy hit the family so hard and left a permanent and unforgettable pain, especially for Doña Quintina, who had lost 3 children and 1 brother in that unfortunate voyage back home to Victorias in 1941. Going back to Don Felix, in Victorias, his name was first mentioned in history in 1907 when he became the stage director of a theater play that was staged by the municipal officials in order to raise money to help finish the construction of the first Casa Municipal de Victorias, or sometimes described in history as Casa Municipal de Magnanod in the present-day town site, particularly in the compound of the Victorias Elementary School fronting the Home Economics Building. His passion for theatrical shows served Victorias well. On May 13, 1927, the Municipal Hall building was briefly taken over by the Pulahanes, or the followers of Florencio Entrencherado or Florencio Natividad, headed by Policarpio Montarde, but was later regained by the Constabulary. Senor Felix L. Montinola arrived at the scene in his slippers holding his escopeta na kapil to defend his beloved town of Victorias against the followers of Florencio Entrencherado and to give reinforcement to the Constabulary. Don Felix Montinola y Lozada also once held the highest position of the town of Saravia as Presidente Municipal, equivalent to a municipal mayor today during the first quarter of the last century. As Chief Executive of Saravia, now Ibi Magalona, he was known for his La Gota de Leche program, whose main objective was to raise funds to aid nursing mothers. Gota de Leche, which literally means a drop of milk, was a foundation started by Trinidad Rizal, sister of celebrated Philippine hero Dr. Jose Rizal, and Concepcion Felix in 1906 that primarily aims to provide nutritional and medical needs to indigent Filipino mothers and their children. To counter the disease of beriberi, which was a sickness resulting from a nutritional deficit in vitamin B1 or thiamine among Filipino women, causing the death of infants mostly before reaching 3 months old. Gota de Leche was established in 1906 as a station that manages the daily distribution of pasteurized cow's milk to Filipino infants. This project was recognized as heroic, and in order for it to further succeed, the founders needed to collaborate with other institutions which were willing to lend a helping hand to the cause. And in Saravia, Presidente Municipal Felix L. Montinola Sr. was one of those who responded to the call to address the dilemma of nursing mothers and their infants in his locality. His time in Saravia was also defined as an era of peace and prosperity. The police force, or known then as the Constabulary, replaced the old Guardia Civil of the Spanish regime. In Victorias, the administration of Mayor Felix Lozada Montinola, who served as a municipal mayor from 1934 up to 1937 and from 1937 up to 1941, is regarded as one of the most well-remembered and most distinctive period in the history of Victorias, with significant projects that changed forever a permanent and most notable landscape that put the town in the map as among the prestigious and progressive towns in the region. He was a true inspiration and a classic example that once we put our hearts and minds into something better, nothing is impossible. His legacy of public service is then and now regarded as one of the most important milestones in the field of public service and good governance in Victorias. On March 10, 1937, Don Felix Montinola, representing as Mayor of Victorias, entered into a deed of sale, or then called Escritura de Compra y Venta, with Emilio Cuesta relative to a parcel of land from the land in lot number 3, block number 13 of the Victorias Municipal Subdivision Plan, located at the corner of Calle Comercio, now Gonzaga Street, and Calle Lucero, now Ascalon Street, containing an area of 175 square meters at the cost of only 262.50 or 1 peso and 50 cents per square meter, payable in 10 years with 15% discount if paid prior to due date. The actual signature of Don Felix Montinola can be seen along with Mr. Emilio Cuesta and 2 other witnesses. This property, to this day, is still occupied by the descendants of the late Mr. Emilio Cuesta. The 3 major infrastructure projects of Don Felix Montinola continues to serve as a remarkable landmark that makes every Victoriahanon wake up in the morning with pride, knowing that they possess one of the few and most beautiful municipal buildings that greets every soul as it passes by. He is responsible for the neoclassical of the books, arts, school design, Victoria's Municipal Building, now known as the Victoria City Hall Building, the 72-foot tall Aguas Potables or the water reservoir located in Quirino Street, Barangay 5, and the Victoria's Public Plaza. The Victoria's Municipal Building, designed by Filipino-renowned architect Juan M. Arellano, best known for Manila's Metropolitan Theater, Legislative Building, now houses the National Museum of Fine Arts, the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex, the old Jaro Municipal Hall, the Negros Occidental Provincial Capital, the Cebu Provincial Capital, the Bank of the Philippine Islands Cebu Main Branch, Misamis Occidental Provincial Capital, and the Jones Bridge during the pre-war era. Now, we take pride as Victoriahanons to add the Victoria's Municipal Building, now known as Victoria City Hall, as among the works of architect Juan Marcos Arellano, dated August 21, 1936. Through Congressman Kiko Benitez, we were able to see a copy of the blueprint of the Victoria's Municipal Building, now known as the Victoria City Hall. Thanks to no less than the Director General of the National Museum of the Philippines, the Honorable Jeremy R. Barnes for retrieving a copy of the blueprint from the DPWH Bureau of Design Archives and for confirming that the municipal building was a work of art of Filipino renowned architect Juan M. Arellano, as evidenced by his signature on the lower right side of the plan and dated August 21, 1936. To verify our facts and to emphasize this milestone discovery, I am very honored, together with Mayor Javi Benitez, to have this privilege via a Zoom meeting with no less than the agency executive of the country's official repository of premier collections in the areas of artistic and cultural heritage and natural history, among other things, which also houses the country's most famous work of art by Juan Luna, dated 1884, a national treasure, the Spoliarium. And he is also an ex officio commissioner of the National Commission of Culture and the Arts and ex officio commissioner of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, the Director General of the National Museum of the Philippines, the Honorable Jeremy R. Barnes.
We are here to verify and validate our facts regarding the blueprint of the City Hall building of Victorias, formerly known as the Municipal Building of the Municipality of Victorias, built in the 1930s during the administration of first Chief Executive of Victorias to be called a municipal mayor during the Commonwealth era, the late Don Felix Lozada Montinola, who served Victorias from 1934 up to 1941. Actually, DG, we first saw the blueprint of the design of the municipal building of Victorias when Congressman Kiko Benitez forwarded to us a copy of the said blueprint that he said came from you. So may we know, DG Barnes, about the details on how did you get to find this blueprint, the signatures in it, who signed it?
So we're also delighted that on the other side of the island in the great city of Victorias, we did a similar search and we found some materials. We hope to find more, but the blueprint that you're referring to, dated 1936, is there. And it gives us a lot of details and we're very excited. And not only that, some other related materials such as yung earlier plan, 1934, ng plaza, around, in front and around what was then the Municipal Hall and today the City Hall. So archival research is very important because we want to do a restoration. We want to be faithful to the original design. And what you see today is not necessarily yung original design. Kasi especially sa mga interiors, kasi those things have changed through renovations through the years.
DG, you know, as Victorianos, we always take pride of our City Hall. It's one of the few buildings built in the 1930s that's so beautiful and overwhelmingly majestic.
Yes.
And we are happy that with your assistance, we were able to retrieve a copy of the blueprint, no? From the, you said, DPWH Bureau
The
of
DPWH Archives. Nakahouse ito sa Bureau of Design ng DPWH Central Office dito sa port area ng Manila.
If you can see in the lower right-hand side of the blueprint, it says Bureau of Public Works, and the title of the blueprint is the Proposed Victorias Municipal Building, Victorias Occidental Negros PI. And there is a signature that's very prominent. And can you tell us about who you think did this blueprint design?
Yes, absolutely. For those of us who work in this area, you can recognize this signature from a mile away. It's the signature, the very distinctive signature at legible panga of Juan Arellano, who was one of the supervising and then chief architects during the pre-war period. Yeah. So yeah, when we see that, we already know that what we hold in our hands is a heritage in itself. Yung isang design ni Juan Arellano, one of our most prominent historical architects.
So in short, DG Barnes, the Victoria's Municipal Building, now known as the Victoria's City Hall, is a work of art by no less than the Filipino renowned architect Juan M. Arellano, right?
Yes, that we can confirm that. It's clear to see, and it's a delightful, important discovery also.
Juan Arellano's other works are the Metropolitan Theater, the Rizal Sports Center in Manila, the Legislative Building where the National Museum houses its exhibits, and the Cebu Provincial Capital and Negros Occidental Provincial Capital. So DG, meaning to say, it's safe now to say that we can proudly add the City Hall of Victorias as among those works attributed to the great Filipino renowned architect Juan M. Arellano.
Absolutely, yeah. Many of the grander, more prominent public buildings were assigned to Arellano by the director of the bureau at the time. Yung hindi naka-assign kay Arellano ay naka-assign usually sa kapwang supervising architect niya, si Antonio Toledo. And another architect but who left earlier for private practice was Tomas Mapua. So chances are that any of the great buildings from the time erected for public use were the works of one of the three, and our understanding is these architects all drew from the same pool of people, yung mga draftsmen, mga assistant architects, and engineers. So we also promote, that all these buildings were like a collective effort of those three great Filipino architects. But Arellano, justifiably, is maybe the most famous of them because he is responsible for the most prominent buildings that survived. Katulad ng ibang private buildings also that he did. And he did many styles, hindi lang neoclassical kundi Art Deco, katulad ng Metropolitan Theater at Rizal Memorial Sports Complex. And he also did hybrid styles like the Dumaguete Presidencia, now National Museum. And so, I think he's the best known, the most versatile, and arguably the best of the great Filipino architects of the time.
DG Bard, it says here August 21, 1936. So meaning to say, the City Hall building of Victorias, formerly known as Municipal Building of Victorias, was constructed along this timeline.
Yes. So, assuming that this was the final plan, this would have been approved by the director of the bureau and then transmitted to the proponent. So the proponent would have been the municipal government of Victorias. So they would have received these approved plans for their appropriate action, meaning to award to a contractor to commence construction. So we can definitely say that after August, construction would have begun swiftly after, probably through 1937.
The City Hall building was constructed during the time of Mayor Felix Montinola because he was mayor from 1934 until 1941. I also saw a resolution, a 1957 resolution, which described the actual transfer of the employees and officials of the city, of the municipal government of Victorias from the old municipal building to the new one in 1937. So that would mean to say that by 1937, this municipal hall building was already completed.
Yes, so that makes sense. That fits completely. The only I think the noteworthy feeling is ang bilis nila from the date of the finalization of the plan to the moving into the new building, like barely a year. But that jives with what we know about the speed of construction in those days. Buildings were much simpler because they didn't have the air conditioning, the machinery, mechanical systems, the electrical systems, the communication systems that we do today.
Can you identify the architectural design that we have for our Victoria City Hall building here in Victoria City?
Oh, absolutely. This is clearly a neoclassical design, so inspired by public buildings of the neoclassical style that were very much in vogue in the United States and other parts of the world at the time. So there's a range of styles to choose from in the 1930s. The more cutting edge avant-garde would have been an Art Deco style. Others went for a hybrid style, like more Spanish Filipino with capis windows and voladas and tiled roof, maybe a tower, like in Dumaguete is a good example. But I think the most popular choice at the time was neoclassical, and this was one case of that. So yeah, I think mayors and governors and government heads had that choice of different styles, and it's safe to say that the preference of the Victoria's authorities at the time, the mayor at the time, was this neoclassical style.
I saw in the 1953 historical record about the municipality of Victoria submitted by the teachers of from the Bureau of Education at the time. It mentions the cost of the City Hall building in the amount of 30,000 pesos. Do you think it was that cheap back then? 30,000 is correct? To build this majestic City Hall building?
Yeah, totally. That sounds about right. That is a generous budget for erecting, a modestly sized public building. Kasi hindi siya ganong kalaki. But at the same time, there would have been money for superior materials, for good finishes. Talagang built to last. 30,000 might not seem like a lot today, but back in those days, this is what that amount could pay for. I think it's a fair enough amount, and even a little bit on the generous side.
We have enacted an ordinance that declares the City Hall building as a cultural property of the city. And also, Mayor Javi Benitez have restored back the City Hall building to its original color of red brick and beige. And it brings back so much memories and joy for the Victorianos who have been so used to seeing our City Hall that way in the past, and we have an ordinance to that effect. And also, DG Barnes, we have a pending request with NCCA for a possible declaration of the City Hall as cultural property of the Philippines, just like our Church of St. Joseph known to many as the Church of the Antichrist. And we are very hopeful that it's going to happen soon. And yeah, we're very positive. We have submitted all the requirements already.
Yes, we're aware of that, and that application has the full endorsement and support of the National Museum.
And also, of course, with you, our young and dynamic and visionary mayor here, Mayor Happy Benitez, I think have forged an alliance with the National Museum to convert our City Hall building into a regional office of the National Museum to showcase a sugar museum in the region. We are very positive about that, and I hope that we're going to make it at the soonest time. And we're very excited about it, and thank you for assisting the city government of Victorias and Mayor Happy towards achieving that vision, DG Bar.
Yes, well, if you're excited, I can tell you we're even more super excited. We really want to. We really have been wanting to establish a presence in your area, and for us, there is no better place or home for a national museum and dare I say the whole of Negros Occidental than in the heritage City Hall building of Victorias. And when we discover things like that the architect was indeed Juan Arellano, and when we find the information we need to know in order to do a good job for restoring the building and appropriately converting it as a museum, that gives us all the confidence to really support our excitement. So yeah, we can't wait. I'm making kulit to the good mayor na sana mag-move out na kayo para we can start working. But yeah, we're excited also for the new City Hall complex that's being planned and underway, and we hope that gets implemented swiftly, like Mayor wants, so that we in turn can do our thing with the Heritage City Hall.
One more thing, PG Barnes. Another interesting story about Victorias is your recent find, and it's the 1934 original plan of the Victorias Public Plaza. What's so amazing about this plan that you shared with us is, number one, it's another Arellano work. It's signed by the same architect.
Yes.
Juan Arellano.
Exactly. So it's dated 1934. It's signed by Juan Arellano. So now we know that even just from the development stage, he was assigned the project for Victorias.
So that would mean to say that Victorias is home to not just one but two Arellano works. DG Barnes?
Probably. This would need a little bit more research and evaluation, because in my experience, when it comes to the plans of plazas and public areas, sometimes they don't get fully implemented. So what we have here is the plan, which may or may not have been revised, which may or may not have been fully implemented. Yan ang difference in our experience between a simple building and an entire area like the civic center of a town like this one. But we see that this was the vision of Arellano for the area at the time. And from what I know, I need to visit more, spend more time there. For what I know, it seems to conform with what we can see today, yung layout ng mga kalye, but it's for people like you who know this through and through, whether natupad ito and if any of it survives for us to appreciate today. But given that maraming interesting information that tells us what was there before the work started, no? Yung kalagayan ng mga kalye, yung mga buildings in the area, the school, the old municipal building, which gives, very interesting historical info for all of us.
DG Barnes, this development plan of the proposed municipal plaza of Victoria's Negros Occidental Philippine Islands, signed by Juan Arellano and dated May 28, 1934, I think was actually revised, because not only that, in the middle part there is a handwritten note which says see revised plan set AA-10 for 55-1 dated August 11, 1936. And as we can see, this is not the actual plaza that we can see in Victoria's today. In the original plan, the municipal building was supposedly constructed in where is now the Hall of Justice building, at the few steps back of the actual City Hall building today. It can be seen here, and it says Davao type municipal building.
Yes.
This is not the actual site where the City Hall stands today. The actual site is where the intersection of the road in the middle, if you can see, there is a square marked that looks like a pencil drawn square, and that's where the City Hall building stands today. And also another interesting thing about this original plan is it actually identifies the old municipal building of Victoria's prior to this neoclassical one in the compound of Victoria's Elementary School. We have notarized testimonies from some of the elders here who testified that they saw when they were little in the 1930s that the actual municipal hall was actually located in the compound of Victoria's Elementary School. So this drawing just confirms that that claim that indeed the old municipal building was located in where the home economics building of the Victoria's Elementary School is located today. So this is such a very interesting and beautiful find, and as you can see, the public plaza is surrounded by Union Street, which is now Montinola Street, Yaquinia, which retained its name as Yaquinia Street. Calle Progreso is now known as Hoover Street, and Calle Real or Real Street is now known as Osmeña Street. This is still where the center of the seat of government is located to this day. And it's very amazing. So what happened maybe was they did this in 1934, but they made a revision dated 1936, probably after they constructed the municipal hall.
Yes, so or at the same time as they constructed, I really hope we can find the revised plan that's referred to, the AA 10415-1. If we go back to the blueprint of the building, that also has its own code. It's AA 10504-2 because it's sheet number 2. So so now we can see the cataloging or record keeping system of Bureau of Public Works, where every set of drawings and project is assigned a code. This is so for all of us, for your listeners and viewers, this just goes to show the value of doing your research. Kasi kung mahanap lahat yan, then we will have the full story of the history of
the revised version is also an Arellano work that just looked at. We have to
Kasi naka-assign kay Arellano and his team itong project. Hinahatian nila yung buong bansa into areas of focus para sa mga different teams. And so the Arellano team was assigned Victorias.
DG Barnes, we're very happy to have you here, and thank you for all your assistance in the past. And we are looking forward to more work with more venture with the National Museum, especially for Victorias, and our vision to convert our City Hall into a museum of the National Museum of the Philippines. I know that Mayor Javi is very excited about it, and we support him all the way. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing the Victoria City Hall becoming a regional branch of the National Museum of the Philippines. Thank you, DG Barnes.
You're
And
very
thank you-
welcome. Our best regards from me and our Director for Visayas, Attorney Cecil Tirol. Yes, our best wishes and yes, our excitement. So between now and when we break ground for our museum project there, we'll continue to do research and you'll see more of us as we gather more information about the kind of museum Victoria Anons would really like us to help create in partnership with the city government.
So again, thank you, and good luck.
Thank you very much. We'll see you soon. And thank you to all who are interested. And we hope to be able to find and discover more information about the history of your great city. Maraming salamat.
Director General Jeremy R. Barnes of the National Museum of the Philippines, with Attorney Cecil Tirol, our Director for the Visayas. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. So if you have questions pa, you have my number, get in touch lang.
Another interesting story about the municipal building is that of Mr. Elino Tabohara Nabaha, hailing from Cebu City. Mr. Elino Nabaha was then one of the foremen during the construction of the municipal building. He was part of the esteemed team of designer Juan Arellano and Iowa University graduate civil engineer Agustin Montinola Hereza, founder of the Hereza Construction Company, which built Cebu's famous Vision Theater along Colon Street in Cebu City, and nephew of Don Felix Montinola from his sister Valentina. Engineer Agustin Hereza was one of the founders of the present-day University of Southern Philippines Foundation, originally known as Southern Institute or Southern University of the Philippines, which currently caters to 18,000 plus students in Cebu. Nabaha, on the other hand, played a crucial role in the construction of the city's most iconic structure, the magnificent Victorias Municipal Hall built during the administration of Don Felix Montinola. Notably, he was also instrumental, being the trusted man of Engineer Hereza in the construction of the Capitol buildings in the province of Negros Occidental, Cebu, Osamis, among others. He took the stewardship of Victoria's Municipal Hall after Engineer Agustin Hereza recognizing Nabaha's exceptional skills, dedication to craftsmanship, and attention to details has entrusted him with the keys to the Victoria's Municipal Hall for endorsement after it was finished. His fate took a different turn when he decided to make Victorias his permanent home and started a life and family of his own. Nabaha's story is not just one of construction and architecture. His legacy lives on the very structure that stands tall today. His descendants to this day still live in Victorias, and another even serves the City Hall, staying in the very building that he helped build. Today, the Victoria City Hall building has been declared a city cultural property by virtue of City Ordinance Number 2023-24 approved on third and final reading in the Sangguniang Panlungsod of Victorias on March 13, 2023. This ordinance was principally authored by this representation with Councilor Dexter Sinido as co-author. This ordinance was approved by Mayor Javier Miguel L. Benitez on March 17, 2023. Another ordinance which we principally authored and co-authored by Councilor Dexter Sinido was Ordinance Number 2023-28, enacted by the Sangguniang Panlungsod on April 3, 2023. An ordinance prescribing the official color of the City Hall building of Victorias City and the Victorias City Administration Center and for other purposes therefore. It was approved by the Honorable Mayor Javier Miguel L. Benitez on April 11, 2023. The City of Victorias likewise has submitted all the requirements to the National Commission for Culture and the Arts for the declaration of the Victorias City Hall building as an important cultural property of the Philippines. With Mayor Javi Benitez's visionary governance of Victorias City today, the Victorias City Hall building will soon be transformed into a regional branch of the National Museum of the Philippines, which will surely make Victorias another tourism attraction site in the province and region. The Victorias Public Plaza. For the first time, the world saw the 1934 original plan of the Victorias Public Plaza, identified as Set AA 102-91, drawn during the administration of Mayor Felix L. Montinola and also designed by the country's renowned Filipino architect Juan Arellano, dated May 28, 1934. This original plan is significant because it identifies the original site of the old municipal building of Victorias located in the compound of the Victorias Elementary School facing the original Burgos Street in front of Yapinia Street. It also mentions the proposed municipal hall as a Davao-type municipal hall to be constructed in between the present-day PNB and Don Alejandro Acuña Yapinia Arts and Cultural Center, where the Hall of Justice stands today, a bandstand in the center of two monuments. This plan, however, was revised as seen in the note written by hand on the side of the plan which says, "See Revised Plan Set AA 10455-1, dated August 11, 1936. Victorias City is now host to two Juan Arellano works, thanks to the dynamic leadership of Don Felix Montinola y Lozada. Finally, to secure the people with a potable source of water, Don Felix Montinola built the 72 feet tall with a 9-meter internal diameter and a storage height of about 6.1 meter aguas potables. Aguas potables made of reinforced concrete circular-shaped structure which became the water reservoir of the town for many years. This majestic structure, located at the highest point of the town proper, still stands proudly today and is under the management of Victorias City Water District. This too has been mapped as one of the city's local cultural properties and endorsed to the NCCA's Philippine Registry of Cultural Properties, the same with the Public Plaza of Victorias. In Victorias, at the onset of World War II, Don Felix Montinola, out of his love and concern for his fellow Victorianos, extended help during evacuation. He guided and gave advice as to where to evacuate and provided financial help from his own money for transportation expenses of his troubled and confused Casimanwa beleaguered by the impending war. He was considered as the grand old man of Victorias. At the end of World War II, when the local government resumed its operations and schools restarted or reopened, they used vacant houses, shaded spaces, and even the Montinola cockpit in Can Ohot, now part of Gonzaga Street, was used as a temporary classroom since all school buildings were burned during the war. Another interesting story is that in the late 1990s, the crew of the city's garbage collection truck found a good number of what they thought were play money scattered in the garbage bin near the Montinola family house. Mindless of it, they shared their finds with the children at the dump site. What they thought as play money turned out to be currency notes. The 1916 and the 1921 series of the Philippine National Bank 5 peso currency bills featuring the 25th U.S. President, William McKinley, and the seal of the Philippine National Bank. These circulating notes issued under the provisions of Act No. 2612 of the Philippine Legislature, the Philippine National Bank will pay to the bearer on demand 5 pesos in lawful currency of the Philippine Islands. In 1951, the Montinola family, thoughtful of the growing needs for education in the secondary level in Victorias, established what has become an important part of the Victoriahanon heritage. First known as Don Felix Montinola Memorial Institute, later Don Felix Montinola Memorial College. This school was named in honor of their family patriarch, Don Felix Montinola. This institution became home to thousands of Victoriahanons who went to study from this institution, myself as a proud alumnus included. This street, formerly known as Calle Union from 1907 up to 1958, has been renamed Felix Montinola Street or shortened to Montinola Street by virtue of Sangguniang Bayan Resolution No. 167, Series of 1958. This bust of Don Felix is a familiar scene to all Felixians as it used to be displayed at the school's library. The grave of Don Felix here in Saravia in a family mausoleo possesses a unique feature. At the back of it are 5 circular windows which gives an audience a glance of the inside where one can see the metal casket where Don Felix is laid to rest. The time of Don Felix Lozada Montinola may have long been gone, but his contributions and legacy are quite evident and alive to this day. For as long as the City Hall building and the Aguas Potables continue to stand strong in the center of Victoria City, his memory will continue to radiate in the hearts of every Victoriano. Don Felix is truly an iconic figure in public service, a true statesman who left an indelible mark in the story of Victoria City. Thank you for joining us today in this episode of Remembrance. We hope that through this series, the present and future generations, especially the youth, shall learn the importance of history, the sacrifices and contributions of our forefathers, and the lessons that are of significant importance to us as we continue with our journey in life. Have a good day and God bless.